What is up, guys? Today I'm working on my beautiful 91 FJ80, my 80 series Land Cruiser, and I'm temporarily fixing this noise right here. Now this noise only occurs when I turn my wheel to the left, so I know it has to do with one of my joints on my left side of my axle. In this video, I'm going to show you how to re-grease your solid front axle Toyota truck and how to prevent it from damaging your birfield joint further. So if you're hearing this noise, most likely it's because your birfield joint has dried up. This noise is caused by the birfield joint, which has some metal balls that are packed in with grease from the factory. And what happens is that the axle seals over time tend to wear out. The grease starts to leak out and dries up the birfield joint. And so these little balls, instead of being packed in with grease, now move around freely, and that's where we hear that clicking noise. So the long-term solution is to rebuild the front axle and replace your birfield joint that is damaged or that's clicking. And really, depending on how long it's been clicking for or how long your birfield has been dry for, will really depend on if you actually need to replace your birfield joint. Now, I spoke with Otram, didn't really speak with him, messaged him, and he said basically, while you're in there, if you're going to rebuild the front axle, you might as well swap out the birfield joint. I think that's what I'm going to do long term, but for this video, I'm just going to show you how to re-grease it. And why am I going to re-grease this instead of just parking it? Well, I still need to drive it around a little bit, and I don't want to damage the birfield joint further. So I'm going to show you how to re-grease it if you're in the same situation where you're waiting for your parts for your front axle rebuild, or you just don't have the time to do it just yet. You could buy yourself some time by just re-greasing it. The re-greasing process is actually super simple, and I was a little bit intimidated by it at first, but it was actually super piece of cake. As you guys know, I'm not a mechanic, I'm an IT guy, so some of this stuff scares me, but I do it anyways, just like you guys. Anyways, I jacked up my truck, I took off my wheel, and then right behind the brakes, there's this fill hole. I removed that. I checked to see how much grease was still in there, and Toyota recommends that it should be a third of the way full if you're going to re-grease it or fill it back up. So I stuck a screwdriver down there, and I noticed it came out pretty empty. And then I pointed my flashlight in there, and I noticed that there wasn't really much grease left. It had dried out. I pumped it up with Molly Grease NLGI Type 2 or number 2, and you want to double check your owner's manual just to make sure that it's the correct one for your Land Cruiser or whatever vehicle you're using. And that was it. I drove it around again, and I realized that I actually didn't have to remove my tire and do everything that I did in the beginning. I could just twist my wheel and pump it that way, but I guess for the purpose of this video, it helped for you guys to see it and visualize it. I picked up the grease gun at Harbor Freight, and I picked up the grease at my local auto parts store. And if you're not familiar with how to use a grease gun, you could probably look up a video. I was able to figure it out just by fumbling around a little bit. But let's say you don't have a solid front axle Toyota truck. Let's say you have independent front suspension and you still hear that clicking noise when you turn a certain direction. Well, what it is most likely your CV joint, and the birfield joint is very similar to the CV joint and looks almost exactly the same, except the CV is, I believe, is a lot smaller. But that's all it is. It's missing grease, so you need to either reboot it and re-grease it, or rebuild your front axle or that side that needs to be fixed. And that's it. That's it for the video today, guys. I hope it was helpful. I hope you were able to learn something. I know in my research for this, I learned a ton, and I thought it was really cool and really interesting. So I hope you learned something, and I hope maybe I saved you some money. Anyways, have a good one. If you enjoy videos on the 80 series Land Cruiser, if you enjoy videos on older vintage Toyota trucks, feel free to like and feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I almost forgot, I have to announce the finalists, which are everybody in here. You guys all entered to win the cup holder giveaway. And so what I'm going to do is, like I mentioned before in another video, I was going to do one person only, but I decided to do 10 instead. Here are the winners. Everybody that is here is a winner. So if you see your name here, reach out to me. I'm going to try to reach out to you via a comment, but I'm going to try to get your email, and we're going to figure out how we're going to get those cup holders to you all. So thank you very much. Have a good one.